Hey everyone, I'm back again, and as usual, very, very grateful to have you guys tuning in. And today I'm coming back to a bit of a mixture as to a couple of different messages that I'm consistently giving to you guys. But I hope that this one really, really supports you and helps you, particularly for those of you out there who are currently potentially struggling with making decisions in your life. Maybe you're stuck in a bunch of confusion. Maybe you're a little bit unclear about the pathway forward in whatever realm that is in your life, whether it's in, your health, in your finances, in your business, your career path, in your relationships, in your friendships, wherever it might be. I hope that this message today gives you some real clarity and some direction in the most empowered way. And as usual, I would love if you guys are playing along at home. Drop me some comments. Let me know where in the world you're tuning in from. And and as always, I want to hear your words of wisdom and your experience on all that we're going to dive into and everything that I'm going to share with you guys today. So so say hi and let me know, and just doing this last little quick share so I can get into it. So I think we're nearly done. And today I'm very, very, very excited to talk to you guys about kind of a new discovery or a new kind of layer of the onion, kind of happening, right? And in my own personal growth and my own certainty within myself. And it is absolutely so freeing. And I want this experience for all of us. So basically, today's message and what we want to dive into today is that internal conviction, and I'm going to unpack exactly what that is the greatest indicator for your most empowered pathway forward. All right, so can't wait to dive into this one with you guys. And hello to Indy and Jed who are just joining. Great to see you guys. And so basically, I want to talk about it like, I don't know if you've been somebody who's ever battled with confusion, like big time, like you doubt your decisions, you don't know which pathway to take. Maybe you're always questioning yourself, doubting yourself, not trusting yourself, seeking guidance and answers from external sources. Somebody else like, tell me what to do. I have no idea, right? If you've ever really experienced that, then today's message is definitely for you. And those of you who've been following me for a while, you know my story, my journey, and basically how I was solely directed by my external world, really pretty much until I started entering into the personal development space back when I was 24, 25, right? So this was back in 2012, right? I think 2012, pretty sure. Anyway, basically, or it might have been 2013. So basically at that point in my life, I didn't know any other way than to be directed by external sources, and without having to reiterate my whole story for a bunch of you who've already heard it 10 million times, basically, I even let my brother pick what university degree I'd do. I shut down my inner callings that were kind of alerting me to what it is that I maybe wanted to do with my life. And I dulled those down and kind of picked up from my external world who it was that I needed to be in order to get the love, acceptance, approval from my family, the people that mattered most to me, and basically directed my entire life like that, right? And until I ran into an opportunity that allowed me to ask myself some deeper, more quality questions to actually work out and be clear on why I was doing what I was doing, and wake up to the realization that there's other ways, right? And I could go on a journey of discovering who it was that I was, and what I wanted to actually do with my life, and so forth, right? So basically, I want to talk to you guys about that self-doubt that comes when you have no internal conviction. And what internal conviction is this deep-seated knowing within yourself that even if you don't logically know how it's going to happen, you just have that absolute certainty within yourself. And if you've never had that, because I really never had that until I was about 25 years old for the first time, if you've never had it, it kind of sounds a little bit out of reach, but it is the most freeing feeling and experience you could ever hope to have in your life. And so the first time I experienced that was when I was at a Tony Robbins event at Date with Destiny, the first ever time that I went to that particular event of his. And I remember, waking up to the reasons why I was on the pathway to become a lawyer. I was waking up to, oh my gosh, like I'm doing this for all of the wrong reasons. And actually, there's another way. And actually, I have a choice as to what I want to do with my life. And I remember distinctly, sitting in the sun on the grass, and it was in the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia, and with my partner at the time. And there was just nothing like that experience and that feeling that I had in that moment, to realize my whole life could be totally different. And I had such internal conviction, such certainty, such knowing within myself, such freedom that it no longer mattered what all the most important people in my life could ever think or say or project fear towards or any of that. It no longer mattered at all, because I had such certainty within self that I didn't need any opinions from external sources to direct the course of my life. And I'm so grateful that I've had those experiences, right? Because if I didn't, I might be somebody who is continuing down the pathway of living this life for the external sources based on, who I thought I needed to be to get the love, acceptance, approval, and so forth from those external sources, which most of us continue to do throughout our lives, based on who we decided we needed to be at a very young age. For those of you who haven't heard this before, between the ages of 0 to 7 is really when we decide, based on our experiences and our perception, particularly of what the people that we most crave the love from, what their expectations are, what their desires are for us to be accepted. We tend to mold ourselves and our whole identity based on that perception that we have at such a young age, right? And we leave that unquestioned until, hopefully, like in my circumstance, I was put in an environment that allowed me to generate a new way of looking at the world and a new way of empowering myself. For some people, they get that same experience, but it's because they had to experience a ton of pain, that they just have to seek some other answers, find some other way of going about life, right? And for majority of people, they don't wake up to that. They tend to live life kind of the hard way and get stuck in living to the expectations of others. But basically, I want to talk about this in terms of your confusion, right? So if any of you guys have a decision that you're looking to make in your life right now, or you're at kind of a crossroads with, do I go this way or that way? And maybe it's a decision that you have had a lot of confusion around for a period of time. I want to leave you with this kind of way of thinking about it, which I had to learn through the experience, and it rings so perfectly true for myself. So I hope that it gives you some perspective as well. But basically, when I get confused about things, this is what goes on in my mind. I'm like, confusion. And what I think about confusion is that confusion is my overthinking mind trying to bring all the logic, right? Trying to out-battle my inner wisdom, my inner knowing, right? What I know in my soul to be true, even though I don't have the how-tos or the logic completely rationalized, right? And I can know from myself, because I come from a very logical, scientific driven kind of family, right? So I learned from a very young age that my emotions weren't going to get me what I wanted. what was going to get me what I wanted was the ability to rationalize and cut out the emotion and speak logically and straightforward, to say my dad, right? To get what I wanted. And I learned that from a very young age. And so I've continued that pattern, which I have to catch myself on all the time, which is this overthinking, right? It's this disconnection from that intuition or that inner wisdom or that inner knowing that you might have, that internal conviction. And puts a question mark on all of that, and then keeps you in confusion where you are totally trying to, your overthinking mind is trying to outbattle your inner wisdom, right? And so this has recently come into play for me in the realm of relationships. So for those of you out there who've been following my stuff, you might have seen a little bit of a relationship shift in my status on Facebook, right? Just yesterday. And it's interesting, right? Because previously, you guys have been following me for a little while. You know that I exited out of a relationship back in March this year. And I didn't really make that a very public relationship at all. Only people who were close friends, close clients, and family really knew much about that relationship that went for like almost 2 years, close, like a year and a half or so, right? And so I was constantly in that relationship. I'm just being totally open and honest with you guys, but in that relationship, I was constantly in a state of confusion. You know, it was like I was just trapped in this overthinking mind, out battling my inner wisdom and inner knowing. And it was really, really an energy draining time, right? I just wanted to be certain either way, but I was constantly in confusion. And it wasn't until, closer to the end of that relationship that I finally had the courage to address what my intuition had been telling me all along, right? And that part of me that was like, but I really care for this person, and the last thing that I'd ever want to do was to hurt them or, to make them feel bad about themselves, or all this sort of stuff was going on that was clouding my vision and my clarity. And I was staying stuck in an idealized vision of relationship and potential with this person until, gratefully, I had one of my amazing coaches at the time call me out on this. And she really said to me, she was like, Vanessa, you are softening everything with that idealized vision. And if in 5 years from now, this still isn't the relationship that deep down you truly desire, and that's still not there, that's not his fault, right? It's your fault, right? Because you're the one who is choosing to be here in this and, deciding to just focus on the idealized vision rather than be in the reality of what is. And that really woke me the hell up, right? And so I have been on going through a series of different experiences where I can look at that particular relationship. I can look back throughout my life, right? And I can particularly look at that relationship, some different things that occurred in that relationship. I can look at a business relationship that I got involved in that I didn't trust my intuition. I negated that. I got all confused about things. I did that again with a friendship where the other person wanted that to be something more than it was more recently, and because I didn't trust my intuition straight away and follow that with internal conviction, it made me all confused. It made them confused to the point they were very annoyed at me, to the point they wanted to kill me, literally, right? And so I've learnt through these different experiences by now that I know what it is to feel that sense of confusion. And I know now what the difference is between overthinking and trying to be all logical and rational about things at the expense of what's actually true for you, what your intuition is telling you, despite how crazy things might seem if you put all the logic towards it. I now know the difference between, overthinking and getting yourself confused and actually trusting in your intuition. And I'm so grateful that I've had the experience of getting off the wrong path career-wise and having that internal conviction come up, that sense of unshakable certainty come up at that point to know what that feels like. And honestly, I think it's the best feeling in the world. And I'm so grateful for all of the experiences that I've had between then and now, in Korea, from that point, that was 7 years ago now. And basically, I have never questioned the path that I'm on for the past 7 years. Not once. There's just absolutely no other pathway that I would choose to be on, and I never will, right? Because I've got such internal conviction. I have burnt the boats on all other options. I don't care about any other options. This is the one for me. And in the words of Jack Canfield, right? 99% is a bitch and 100% is a breeze, right? When you fully commit with internal conviction to something, right? And so that's what I've done with my career path. And it's allowed me to also get to this level in relationship, which I've so wanted. But as you guys have seen through my journey, and if you've been following along for the past few years now, you've seen my journey in relationship, and I've been able to kind of express what's going on a little bit more for you, but just even explaining a little bit about the total confusion that lasted for that entirety of my last relationship, now getting to this point where I've realized it's not about the logical, the rational, the overthinking, the confusion. What it is about is clearing that away and tapping into what really intuitively feels right to you and trusting that. And sometimes you just need to have a bunch of different experiences that wake you up to the opposite, right? When you are not making decisions from that place of knowing and you're discounting that, to experience how things go wrong when you go down that path of staying stuck in your head and out of your heart. And maybe you do have to have those experiences like I have, to get to this point of absolute certainty, like 100%, and internal conviction all the way. And that's what I have just entered into in this new relationship. And that's how I feel about it. And, to the outside world, it's absolutely crazy, right? It's absolutely illogical on a whole bunch of different layers that I'm not going to go into right now. But basically, that's where I'm at. And so I'm feeling into that. And for the first time ever, I feel like my life is being fully guided from that place of internal conviction. I'm not staying stuck in my overthinking mind, trying to outbattle that internal knowing, because I've now had enough experiences on both sides to know that when I rely on my overthinking rationale and logic with anything, and that points me towards a very confused state of being that makes me seek guidance from external sources at the expense of what's going on within myself, I run into a lot of problems, right? I run into a lot of challenges that are all here to support me to wake up to my inner wisdom and finally actually listen to it, right? And I know now also that when I actually turn up the volume of my internal conviction and I really, really follow through on that, and I turn down the voice of, well, is that logical enough or rational enough, or what are people going to think about that? I just turn that down. Every time I do that, my life excels, right? And I'm just feeling very, very grateful that I'm able to do that in the realm of relationship right now in my life. So very grateful for every single experience I've had, which you guys should be as well. You know, all the different experiences that you've had that have led you up to this point in your life have absolutely made you into the human being that can up level your life and actually create your most inspired visions in whatever area of life that may be, right? And sometimes you might be a little bit like me. You know, sometimes we need to dedicate ourselves to a particular focus and area of our lives so that we can generate a level of self-trust, a connection to our own internal knowing, so that we can then take that experience and we can apply it to all other areas. All right. And that to me is freedom. So I'm hoping that what I've shared with you guys today is of value and does kind of just wake you up to, where in my life have I been stuck in a state of confusion and I'm sick of being exhausted by it, right? And to know that, you know what, I am going to realize that whenever I'm in a state of confusion, my overthinking mind is trying to outbattle my internal wisdom, and I have the answers within me, right? And so what are you going to do about that? I've actually just popped into my head right now. I actually do have a meditation that I created that helps you to balance this out, right? It's kind of like a brain dump, so that you can brain dump, like get your conscious mind out of the way, right? Like just go for all the brain dump of all the logic, all the rationale out of it, and then kind of going through a process of actually just sitting with yourself, going into the subconscious and allowing the answers to come up from within, because you always have the answers within you, right? I promise you. You know, all of my coaching with my clients is not for me to tell them what to do. What it is to build their internal conviction and their ability to tap into that and listen to it and follow it. Because you becoming your own leader in life is tapping into and listening to that inner voice, right? Not the voice of fear, right? The voice of fear, what that does is it makes you really anxious, it makes you unstable, it makes you scattered, it makes you just disconnected and questioning everything. It's very different to listening into intuition, because intuition, that inner tuition, right? That inner teacher, that inner knowing, that certainty, that internal conviction, what that really is a sense of unshakable calmness and a centered knowing of your pathway forward, right? It's a very different inner voice. You've got the inner critic, right? The fear-driven self, and you've got the inner wisdom, right? They're two voices from within, but they feel totally different. So I want you guys to really know that, and you have to actually experience it. We're talking theory right now. You've got to apply it on the practical, and guaranteed you've had a bunch of different experiences with both of those voices, probably more so your inner critic than your inner wisdom, in listening to it and being guided by it. But we want to know the difference between those two, and we want to get into our own confusion and step forward with the most freeing feeling there is, which is internal conviction. And when you do this, you will create a level of trust within yourself that knows you can handle it, right? You can handle the unknown. You don't have to have all the certainty in the logical, rational way. You can have the certainty within, which is really the only place that it can be sustainable, and the most empowered place. The only real true place you can have certainty is that trust within yourself, that you have the answers within you, and that when you align with those answers and that truth, everything works out for you. Go and just test this out and experience it for yourself, right? So that's really my message for you guys today. I definitely want to check in with you guys and see who's been able to join me. Have you got any questions or comments or words of wisdom or anything that you'd love to share and contribute to the conversation today? I'd absolutely love to hear from you guys. So let me check in. I've got Indy and everything that you mentioned. I love it, Indy. Today's message is resonating, and always so good to see you. And Jed, tuning in from New Zealand, Razum. Hope you're doing amazingly well, Jed. Great to see you back. And Dawn's in the house. Awesome. And AJ, yes, hello to you. Grateful that this is resonating. And Eric's here, and Haji, and Jen, much love to you, beautiful. And Jed, path of least resistance. Totally. So I love that you bring that up, because I feel like in life, you are going to have, chaos, and you're going to have chaos in your life no matter what, right? And you're going to have order. So you can either do what I did for the first 25 years of my life, which was to have order in my external world, mitigate all chaos, but I was filled with internal chaos, right? Very painful, disconnected, isolated place to be, even if you're surrounded by people all the time, right? Or you can choose to just realize that, okay, I would much rather have internal order that gives me a sense of internal conviction, certainty, and empowerment to handle whatever challenge I'm faced with in this world, and know that that comes with some external chaos, right? Some people aren't going to like that I'm fully aligning with the truth of who I am. A lot of people might question if I'm crazy or for what I'm doing, right? It doesn't matter, because what you find when you're somebody who's like trying to mitigate chaos in your external world at the sacrifice of your internal order, you think that that's the only way to live, right? You think there's no way I could have a voice in this circumstance, because that's just going to make everything go crazy. I can't have chaos out there and chaos in here. But the idea is to generate order within, to discover and know who it is that you are, what it is that you want, not filtering it through anybody else, knowing that you always have the answers within you if you just listen, right? And you just start following through and building that trust within yourself. And then what happens is, as you establish real order within, you become the kind of person who is courageous and strong enough to handle potential chaos that you're going to be hit with from your external world. And you're going to know that is the pathway forward. I don't know if you guys can hear my stomach grumbling, but it's going off. I'm currently doing a new health strategy right now. I'm following the work of Dr. Eric Berg, amazing doctor, and online I really highly recommend what he goes through. But just as a side note, I'm doing a combination of healthy keto and also intermittent fasting, so that's why my tummy's rumbling. I've got 15 minutes till I'm supposed to eat my first meal. But just in case you guys could hear, because that would be weird. So I love that, Jed. And Indy, much love to you. And Bobby, hello to you. And Goldie, good morning. And Elf's in the house. I love it. And Indy, I'm loving that this is resonating. And Jed, a process of stillness is the way. Yeah, totally. To be able to sit with yourself and go within, right? To listen to what actually comes up for you, and to guard that time for yourself daily, right? Whatever process works for you. For some people, that's meditation. For me personally, it's more about writing. It's about putting on some really moving music that inspires me and just writing, just kind of pouring out what's going on inside of me. That's what works for me. And, asking yourself good quality questions. Right now, I'm going through a process where I'm asking myself I think I've got 74 questions. I'm nearly at the end of it. It's taken me a couple of weeks because they're very deep questions. But the more clarity you get from within, it means that you're not going to be guiding and molding your life from external sources, right? So you want to have processes that create that stillness, as Jed says, so that you can actually allow what's inside of you to come forward and to educate yourself from within, right? Instead of being molded from the external. So I love that, Jed. And Lisa, so happy for you, Vanessa, that you have connected into a new relationship. Keep listening to your inner wisdom. All the answers are inside. Thank you so much, beautiful soul. I'm grateful, as always, to be connected to you. And thank you. And yes, absolutely, said spot on. Indy, you're so welcome. And Taya, so good to see you, beautiful. Hope you're doing amazingly well. And much love to you as well, Indy. And Julie's here as well. And Taya, Oh, this is so cool. I so love seeing you thrive in this space. It is pretty magic when people find themselves and fully immerse themselves in a career they are deeply passionate about. Thank you so much, Taya. That's so beautifully put. So good to see you. It's been a hell of a lot of years, and I'm so grateful to have you on this journey. Yeah, you've probably seen me transition through a lot over this time. So beautiful to have you here. And George, howdy y'all. Thank you, Vanessa, for your words of wisdom today. Internal order is necessary for your own happiness. The rest will follow. So beautifully put, George. Always great to see you, and thanks for checking in. And Taya, I'm with you. Writing lights me up. Totally. It's just a process of, for me personally, it's also creating these sort of messages with you guys and being able to talk out these kind of ideas and concepts. When I create a message for you guys, it's usually because I've been doing some writing and I've been bringing up what's going on within myself so that then I can get some clarity and then get to share it with you guys and get to talk it out. And that's another reason why I'm immensely grateful. Oh my gosh, I'm immensely grateful for each and every one of you guys, because I feel like you so help me on a high level to give me an opportunity to actually talk about the stuff that I feel is really personally meaningful. And I know that on a human level, if I'm experiencing something that feels like it's meaningful, I know it's going to resonate with at least some of you guys. That's the idea, right? So I love that you are lit up by writing as well too, Taya. And Jed, I have never seen so much chaos as now, this COVID thing, so your words really resonate. I love that, Jed. Thank you so much for sharing that. Absolutely. It's so true, right? There is so much external chaos going around globally right now, more so than any of us have experienced probably in our lifetimes, unless you're my granny who survived the Holocaust, right? And all those sorts of things. But basically, this now more than ever is a time to create your internal order, right? No better time than now. You've got probably most people have more time up their hands right now as well. And so for any of you guys who are on that journey and you're not quite sure where to start, I hope you guys know that I do offer my free 15-minute power sessions where I've been jumping on calls with so many of you and just hearing a bit about what's going on in your world, so that I can help to shift your perspective, give you some action steps to get moving now, get that clarity, get that direction. And it's the gift that I wish to give to you guys, for all of you who are committed to breaking through and creating that order in your life and that freedom and that internal conviction. So take me up on that. I'll put my calendar link as a comment just in case you guys haven't seen it, and I hope to meet you. And so that's awesome, Jed. And Mark, you talk to guides. I don't talk to any guides. I think I know what you're talking about. But in a way, I feel like there's my internal guide, right? Intuition, inner tuition, right? Your inner teacher. Every time I allow myself to be guided from within, that's when everything works, right? And every time I'm trying to be guided by external sources, everything crashes and burns, at least eventually, right? And, albeit that I'm meant to learn those lessons, and without those crash and burn lessons, I wouldn't have that contrast between confusion and internal conviction, right? So it's all on our way, not in our way, so whatever path we take. But yeah, hope that answers your question, Mark. And Candace is here as well. Good to see you, beautiful. And Taya, 100%. Writing and blogging in the self-love space has been so transformational for me. It has allowed me to shift from believing things to actually living my beliefs. Taya, this is so cool. I had no idea that you were blogging in self-love, and maybe we should have a conversation. Maybe you should come on the Limitless Potential show and let's talk all things self-love. So I think we should connect. I love it. And Mark, the internal expansion more than external expansion. Yeah, absolutely. Because everything comes from within, right? Like to be able to tap into that fully and expand from the inside out rather than the outside in, which is just kind of compressing us into and molding us into the expectations of the external world. So So beautifully put, Mark. I love that. And Indy, love is the most beautiful and powerful source in the universe. You got that right, beautiful soul. Absolutely. And Mark, dream words said universe is within me. Perfectly put. And Mario, I love your messages, Vanessa. Oh, thank you. I couldn't catch your whole live today, but I'll see it later. You have been such a big help for me. I'm so grateful to hear that, Mario. Thank you so much for your kind words. And yes, do catch the recording of this one. Hope it adds immense value to you. And it's been wonderful to watch your journey over the years as well. So much love for each and every one of you guys. I really hope that today's message has really resonated with you, and particularly for those of you out there who are struggling with, chaos in your internal world, right? And trying to mitigate all chaos in the external world. You're stuck in a state of confusion, self-doubt, judging yourself, questioning yourself, not trusting yourself. You've got decisions to make. You're lacking internal conviction. All of those things. I hope today's message really helps you get some clarity. And for those of you who would like me to help you on a more personal level, you can take me up on one of my free 15-minute power sessions, and it would be my honor to get to connect with you and support you in any way that I can. So I'll put that link, like I said, down below. And Mario, your messages always resonate with me. Grateful to hear that, my friend. So that's my message. Remember that internal conviction is the greatest indicator for your most empowered pathway forward. So learn to tap into that. Learn that confusion is just your overthinking mind trying to outbattle your internal wisdom. And all of your freedom and your fulfillment lays in connecting with and following through with that internal conviction and total commitment. All right, that's my message for each and every one of you guys. And Jay Castillo, you are so welcome. And Taya, so lovely to catch you today. Would love to catch up at some point. Awesome, Taya. Can't wait. So that's my message. Hope it resonates. Hope it's helpful. Please do share it if it has been of value to you guys. And Bill's just joining now. I'm sorry you just jumping on now, but I hope you catch a recording. Hope it's of value to you, my friend. And Indy, yes, absolutely, love that, and much love to you, Bill. That's my message. I'm signing off. I'm sending you guys all of my love and thanking you so much for showing up today, for contributing to the conversation. You guys are absolute beautiful souls, and as always, you know what I'm going to say, go out there and live authentically. Love deeply. Get off the surface, go deep, get into that internal conviction and contribute meaningfully and purposefully. All right, that's my message. Signing off. I think I said that's my message like 50 times just then, but that's all right. You get it, I hope. And I'm signing off. I'm sending you guys all of my love, and I'll see you tomorrow.